got so much stuff. For a day that no actual things happened in court, there were no witnesses. There was there was no witnesses. The damn yeah, the most of the day had no jury. For a day that there was no witnesses, no jury, a whole bunch of things there was none of. I got so many things to tell y'all today. We got a ton of stuff. First of all, shout out to everyone in the court. As y'all know, I love doing this. Shout out to everybody in the chat, but shout out to everybody that was in court today. Once again, I just want to say this. I can't stress this enough. I know I call the prosecutors the Sith Lords. I know I call them Sith Lords, but they are doing an incredible job. And I'm just saying that it's all in fun and games. It's not to be disrespectful towards them. It's all in fun and games. If you've ever been to an actual Star Wars function, you'll know that most of the people there is fucking part of the Empire. So I know I call them Sith Lords. I know I call her Darth Keenan. I know that I do this. And I know that, but believe me, it's all in funny games. It's all out of love. With that being said, the prosecution and the defense did incredible this whole entire time. And what I'm about to talk with y'all about today is proof of that, just so we can be clear. It's not proof that the defense did well, and it's not proof that the prosecution did well. It's actually proof that the defense and the prosecution did well. And I just want to say this. In order for something like this to happen, you have to have a good judge. So shout out to Judge Abraham Klott. And shout out to all the participants that are a part of this theater that they call court. Once again, R.I.P. Benga. His family shows up every day. You can tell that they love and miss him. And also, the family of TAXSTONE show up every day, and you could tell that they're concerned and they miss him. So I would definitely, I don't think I give a shout out to the families enough. I want to give a shout out to both families. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happened and no matter what is going to happen, it's always good to see families that care about one another. Because we have too many families out here right now that they just there because they just toxic together. They don't really care about one another. With that being said, I'm going to do quick shout outs and then we're going to get to the show. Shout out to Ayrton. He says, hey. Shout out to Sharice. He says, ready. All of the readies. Shout out to Struggles. Said the struggle was real. I guess so, right? Shout out to Joffrey. He says 3 the man. Shout out to M. He says, YouTube, come on, bro. It says 8. I was a little bit late. I want to apologize about that. He said, my business said frost me on Color People Time. Fox 5 says everything healthy, my brother. Salute. What up, Problematic? M says Frost, let's go. EA says, y'all think we getting a verdict tomorrow? What the fuck, fam? Anyway, we're gonna get to it. Too many holes in the M says too many holes in the theory, not enough facts in practice. I've been watching the case diligently. Okay. Bo Real Facts says salute. M says, let's go, Fox. Okay, here we go. All right, so I appreciate you, Hood Harvest. He says you're doing a good job, Truce. I appreciate you, my brother. Gaddy, we got Gotti in the house over here. He's doing all of the muskers. Shout out to Rex. I had a dog named Rex. That is not to be disrespectful towards you. I just want to let you know. And shout out to Melly. Let me get my book real quick. We actually have a lot to talk about. And before we get to the actual festivities, I want to go over what happened this morning just so we could be clear. First of all, I think everybody should give a shout out to Judge Klott. And the reason why I'm saying this is, I'm giving a shout out to Judge Klott. The reason why I'm saying this is for the people that's never had to get clothes to go to court, you might not know this, but sometimes Rikers like screw you over. I'm not talking about the police. I'm not talking about the officers in the building, by the way. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Rikers specifically. I don't know if the officers in the building is screwing niggas over also. I'm not here for that. I don't know if it's happening. I'm not talking about that. As far as I know, all of the court officers that I saw take their job seriously and they're doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. You understand what I'm saying? But as far as Rikers go, they will have you come to court looking weird as F. I promise you. They'll have Rikers will have you go to court looking weird as F. So for everybody that don't know, if you missed the earlier live, I'm just gonna run through this real quick. There was an issue with TAXSTONE. He had clothes that they're supposed to give to him before he comes to court. At Rikers, they did not give him his clothes. They were trying to either have him come to court in his jail outfit and or just random clothes. So these clothes aren't his. They don't fit him. You understand what I'm saying? He's gonna come to fucking court with hammer pants. Who's doing that? Who's coming to court with hammer pants on? So TAXSTONE, being who he is, he was telling them he's not going nowhere. So there was an issue trying to get TAXSTONE to come to court, and instead of them, they eventually mitigated the issue. The warden got involved. The warden calls Esquire. Esquire and the warden have a conversation, and then TAXSTONE, is given whatever clothes he was supposed to be coming to court in, and they give him his gear. So boom, very happy that got worked out. Salute Grim. So the thing I want to say is this: shout out to Judge Clark, because Judge Clark while he was being upset, while they gaslit him, they created a situation that made TAXSTONE upset. So he was angry. While he was being upset, they took video of him, and then they sent it to the judge. That's that bullshit. There's no other way I can say that. That's that real BS. So you took the man, you created a situation that upset him, right? And then after you created the upset, and it upset him with good reason, when you created the situation that upset him, you then took video of him being upset to use against him. That's, I call a lot of shit evil, but that's evil. Imagine, that's evil. Yes, classic gaslighting. They upset him, waited for him to give them a response, then video recorded him while he was in distress. Then sent that to Judge Clark. He said, I don't even want to see that video. He was like, I don't want to see that video. Shout out to Judge. Could we give a shout out to Judge Clark? He was like, I don't want to see that video. Get that out of here. He was not for nothing, but he's a very even-tempered man, it seems, right? I've been caught. He's very even-tempered. But you can hear in his voice, I ain't got time for this shit. You can hear it in his voice. So that's why I'm saying shout out to Judge Clark. Some of y'all is gonna, maybe me also, is gonna have to be in front of a judge at some point. Whether you're guilty or whether you're innocent, I promise you, the type of judge you want to be in front of is this man. I'm looking for my book now. I don't know where I put it. Whether you're guilty or whether you're innocent, the type of judge you want to be in front of is that man. I promise you, whether you're guilty or whether you're innocent, that's the guy you want to have be the judge of. Just so we clear. With that being said, Yeah, so he didn't even want to see the video. Hold on, I'll tell you what happened in court, and then we'll get to the new situation that happened. So today is day 11 or day 12? Ah, shit. Today's day 12, ain't it? Yeah, it's day 12. I wrote day 11 on the other one. Not no shout out to Rockets. Get the fuck out of here. Rikers did that bullshit. No shout out to Rikers. Rikers get 0 shout outs over here, man. That was bullshit. Day 12. It's day 12, day 12. I think earlier I wrote day 11 or something. It's day 12, though. So just so we can be clear, I'm going to run through this real quick, and then I'm going to get to the new thing. So just so we can be clear, Tax refused to leave his cell. The reason why he refused to leave his cell because corrections didn't give him his clothes for court, and he wasn't able to take his materials with him. What the judge was told is that he was just, being difficult. That's the way they made it sound. He wasn't even, he was just being difficult. So Esquire said Rikers was trying to send him to court in his orange jumpsuit. So the judge said took him to intake, and they tried to give him court clothes because the judge is like, if they didn't have his clothes available, court clothes is fine. So that's what I guess he was saying. But then he went over and said, no, it wasn't about the materials. It was specifically, it was a food issue. I guess they didn't want to give him his food, and it was his suit. And so the warden had to be called. The warden came and fixed it. The warden apparently had got on the phone and got in contact with Esquire, and then they was able to get that shit mitigated. And look, I literally wrote, he said in court that he has no reason to look at it. He said, I got no reason to look at that. He said, I have no reason to look at that. But what he did say was this, and this is the reason why I want to go over this one more time, because I want people to understand this. What he did say was this: if that didn't get fixed, and then TAXSTONE didn't come to court, that would be bad for him. You understand? If TAXSTONE didn't come to court, that would have looked bad on Tax. So he said the next time some shit like that happens, obviously he say some shit. But he said the next time something like that happens, what he needs him to do is you got to come to court so you can tell the judge. Because the judge, is his job to make sure that those problems don't exist. The judge is going to tell them, look, we're not playing with you. Dude, they probably was going to try to have him come to court in hammer pants. He's going to be like, doing hammer pants. What the fuck, fam? In any regard, the judge said, look, whether they're wrong about whatever they did over there, if you don't come to court, that hurts your case. Like, you over here fighting for your freedom. You have to come to court. So I'm telling you this just in case anybody else or somebody that experiences this issue. You have to come to court. You have to come to court. What up, Des? You have to come to court. You understand? So that's what the judge imparted to him. So they were wrong, but you have to come to court. You can't not come to court because that's going to hurt you in your case, in your lawyer's ability to be able to defend you. So you have to come to court. You can't just refuse to come to court. Just so we can be clear. Now y'all ready for the jury stuff? You know what? We got 188 people in here. We got 188 people in here. If Tax is snitching from Twitter, what is Tax saying on Twitter? Put it in the chat. We got 188 people in here. I need y'all to get up to 75 likes before I tell you what the jury did. I need y'all to get to 75 likes before I tell you what the jury did. We got 193 people in here. I need y'all to get to 75 likes before I tell you what the jury did. So I'm going to need y'all to hit that like button. I'm tired of sitting here with no likes. Hit the damn like button, please. Now I'm going to go pour me a little bit of apple juice. I'm going to drink a little bit of it, and I'm going to come back. At that time, I think we're going to be to 75 likes by then, right? I'm holding y'all all the way hostage, you rat bastards. Hit that like button. Y'all be holding me hostage by not hitting the like button. I think I got to drink something other than apple juice, water, and coffee one of these days. All right. I have no idea why they can't hit the like button either, Huddy. I have zero ideas also. So hold on. Let me make sure I got everything right. I got everything straight. We about to go. We about to go right now. Let me just make sure I got everything straight. Are y'all excited? Hope y'all excited. The jury sends a note back to the judge. The jury sends a note back to the judge. The note is saying that they want to hear Troy Ave's testimony about the incident over again, specifically the struggle. That's the first part. I'm going to say this again. The jury wanted to hear Troy Ave's testimony about the struggle one more time. Also, if you want to go cop your morning coffee shirts, your morning coffee BBN shirt, link is in the description. Go cop your morning coffee BBN shirt. Take a picture of yourself and then send it to us. Also, share the live. Hell yeah. Shout out to that. I got to do two things real quick. Sorry about this, y'all. I'm slow sometimes. No, that's wrong. Sorry about this. One more thing. I got to send that. You just reminded me when you said share the damn video. I got to share it to somebody myself. Shout out to New Lane Entertainment. Shout out to New Lane Entertainment. New Lane Entertainment. Shout out to them. These guys are incredible. Shout out to all of Philly also, as we talking about it. Let me wipe this camera. They definitely pull up in court showing support to TAXSTONE. Shout out to New Lane Entertainment. There's some TAXSTONE supporters. They support tax. And they pull up in court showing the support in court. For real, for real. Because remember, there's a lot of people that, you know, they hang out and they ain't pulling up in court for the brother. That's the effed up part. Like, if like, let's say tax beats it. Like, do you still go hang out with the niggas that didn't pull up in court with you? Like, the people that didn't come pull up in court. Like, do you still hang out with them? Like, do you fuck with them still? In any regard. So the jury wanted to hear Troy Ave's testimony regarding the struggle specifically, just so we can be clear. Specifically, I should have asked them for those pages because that probably would have only ran me about $20, right? I'll go see tomorrow. I'll ask tomorrow. Shout out to Melly with the $2 drop. He said, shout me out in the chat. Shout out to Melly. Appreciate you with the $2 drop. Appreciate you. That's a fact. Don't let nobody lie to you. Who's next? Do y'all ready to hear the second thing that the jury wanted to know? Do y'all want to hear the second thing that the jury wanted to know? I believe so. Do y'all want to know the second thing that the jury wanted to know? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. The jury wanted the judge to read back the clarifications. Just to be clear, the jury wanted, yes, the jury wanted the judge to read back the clarifications for charges 1, charges 1A, and charges 2. In any regards, I'm literally not talking so I could see your comments. I'm about to tell you what charges 1 and 2 is in a second. The jury, just so we can be clear, wanted the charges, specifically the elements of the charges read back. The elements. So do y'all want to go over real quick, the court reporter did a terrific job reading back the transcript, just so we can be clear. But we have most of the elements of the transcript already, and she wasn't reading it in a manner. See, when they do the regular court, everybody got to speak pretty slow so the court reporter could report it. But when the court reporter is reading, She's reading like fucking Speedy Gonzalez. So there was just a point where I was like, I can't keep up. I just couldn't keep up. She was doing a great job though. Her job is to make sure that the jury could hear it, not me. She was doing a great job. So this is in no way criticism, just so we can be clear. So I was only able to get the direct that she put out for the prosecution. I got some of that. But basically, just so we could be clear, do anybody have any opinions on this? What does this sound like to anybody? Put it in the chat. I want to know what y'all think this sounds like. What does this sound like? What does this sound like to you? Just so we could be clear, I do not know who Baby G is. R.I.P. Just so we could be clear, the jury asked to hear Troy Ave's testimony regarding the struggle for the weapon, and also they wanted clarification on the charges 1A, and 2. And remember, just so we can be clear, they can't even vote on whether he's guilty for 1A unless they go not guilty on the capital charge. So I want to be clear on this. Charge 1 is murder in the second degree. They can't even take a vote or debate on murder in the second degree. They can't even take a debate or murder or on murder in the second degree. They can't take a vote on manslaughter in the second degree unless they are not going murder in the second degree. You understand what I'm saying? So they can only vote on charge 1A if they vote off charge 1. So they have to literally say, we do not believe it's murder in the second degree in order for manslaughter in the second degree to even be considered. They can't even look at that. They can't even look at murder in the second degree. Pardon me. They can't even look at the manslaughter in the second degree unless they vote not guilty on murder in the second degree. You get it? They have to vote not guilty on murder in the second degree for them to even vote on manslaughter in the second degree. You understand? So real quick, murder in the second degree means that he caused the death and he did so with the intent to cause death. Why would the jurors have their own jury room. You think they're out there in front of all of us talking about it? You think the jurors is like out there in open court with all the rest of us debating, like talking about the trial? No, man, they got a whole room somewhere. The hell, fam? Shout out to Artie D. Glass. I'm not trying to. I want to know what y'all think about that. What do y'all think about the fact that the jury wanted to have the instructions, the clarification of murder in the second degree, manslaughter in the second degree, and they also wanted a clarification for attempted murder in the second degree? The attempted murder in the second degree concerns Troy Ave. Just so we could be clear. They also wanted clarification on the attempted murder in the second degree concerning Troy Ave. He's gonna swing the pulse of the jurors. Hit that like button, man. We got 130 in here. Outside. What the hell? Look, I have my own opinions about all of this, right? This right here, not about the other stuff. But I'm not saying any of my opinions. I would like to hear yours. I don't have an opinion on the stuff y'all be asking me opinions about. I do have a pretty decent understanding of the court system and the instructions that I heard in the court. So this do mean a thing. I want to know how you guys are accepting it. How I accept it don't mean anything. How are you guys accepting it? My volume is the lowest. Don't worry. We're gonna have a microphone in a minute. My volume is, I have the lowest volume ever. We got 312 people in here. Is only one person got a problem with my volume, or is there at least 30? I know it's not low. That person is they just do that. Now do you believe me when I told you that Esquire did a good job? I think that the prosecution did a good job too, and I think this proves that the prosecution did a good job, and I think that this proves that Esquire did a good job. I think this proves that the prosecution did a good job, and I think this proves that Esquire did a good job. Yes, you did tell me that Esquire was a beast. That's a fact. Montgomery Esquire. Montgomery Esquire. If you ever see him, y'all gotta say that. You know, right? You're just gonna see him somewhere. He's gonna be eating freaking dinner with his wife. Just walk right up to him. Montgomery Esquire. He is definitely worth every penny. He's definitely worth every penny. Don't let nobody lie to you. And he spends his money smart. Now on suits, he's gonna wear to work. I'm making jokes. There's nothing wrong with his suits. There's nothing wrong with his suits. Troy Ave's just a dick. That's all. There's nothing wrong with his suits. Troy Ave, you went to court one day out of the whole year. This guy gotta be in court every other day. You think he's gonna be walking around with $600 suits, $1,000 suits every 5 minutes? That don't even make sense. You got bills. So hold on. I want to be clear on this. I want you to understand. I'm going to explain this the best way that I can. The only reason why they would be even able to consider the manslaughter charge is if they're not gonna say that he's guilty on murder in the second. That's the only reason why they would even be considering the manslaughter charge. You do understand this, right? They can't find him guilty of manslaughter in the second degree. They can't even vote on whether he can be guilty in manslaughter in the second degree unless they say that he's not guilty of murder in the second degree. So the simple act of them needing or wanting to have clarification on manslaughter in the second degree and murder in the second degree, there might be a little bit of pushback there from the jury. I don't know. That's up for you guys to decide. I don't know. I'm just telling you what it is. No verdict. Now, just so we could be clear, murder in the second degree, as it's explained, is two parts. First, the person had to have caused the death. That's the first part. Second, there had to have been an intent to cause death. Now, the intent didn't have to be 2 hours ago. The intent only had to have happened when the trigger was pulled. There had to be an intent to cause the death. So, murder in the second degree, you had to have caused the death, and there has to have been intent to cause death. Manslaughter in the second degree, you had to have caused the death, like in murder in the second degree. But in manslaughter in the second degree, you only had to be attempting to cause serious injury. So let's say you just try to seriously injure somebody and you end up killing them. That's manslaughter. Because you didn't mean to kill them. You just meant to hurt them really bad. And also remember, manslaughter in the second degree was added at the last moment by the prosecution, which some people could see is that's good prosecutory judgment. They added those in the last minute. That's good prosecutory judgment. I don't know what to tell you. They saw how the trial went. They didn't figure that they could get him on murder in the second degree. So they decided to amend the charges, and they added manslaughter in the second degree. That's good prosecutory work. Also, just so we could be clear, Troy Ave was never in trouble. He was never in trouble for the death of Benga. Nope. Please don't name anyone. Don't name no pages on my page, homie. All them dudes want to do is argue. Don't name no pages on my page. Copy? Don't name nobody's page on my page. That's the only warning you're going to get. The next warning is kick. Don't name nobody's page on my page, especially none of them niggas that like spending all day arguing with each other. I'm not bringing none of them niggas on my page, period. And I'm definitely not bringing anybody on my page that is constantly trying to. We're not doing that. The hell? I'm not them. All right? Let them go do what they doing. Don't name none of them people on my page no more. I'm not doing what they doing. They arguing with each other over bullshit all the time. I'm not doing what they doing. Don't. Yeah, I'm not doing what they doing. Yeah, I'm not shitting on nobody either, and I'm not disrespecting nobody. I'm just saying I'm not doing what they doing. That's it. Nah, I kicked him already. Shout out to the Star Report. He was up in here earlier. He said that basically I could go out on his. He wants me to pull up on his page. He said I asked him could I. He said I could pull up on his page. So we're gonna be over on the Star Report pretty soon over there chopping it up with Star. You know we fuck with the big homie. Those are the pages I F with. Pages like that. I don't F with these other pages. Now I don't got no problem with them. I just that's not for me. Anyway, you said wanted me to read what back again? Murder in the second degree. Murder in the second degree is two parts. Murder in the second degree is two parts. One, you had to have caused the death. They have to agree that you caused the death. That's the first one. The second part is you had to have intended to cause the death. You understand? So in order for a person to be guilty of murder in the second degree, one, the jury has to believe or they have to feel like you caused the death of the individual. And two, the jury also have to think that that was the intended purpose of whatever you did. Just so we could be clear. Manslaughter in the second degree caused the death, and you had to just had the intent to cause serious injury. That's manslaughter in the second degree. So basically, the jury, an argument could be made right now if they didn't add manslaughter in the second degree that he might have just beat that charge. Shout out, that's not the real Star Report. Star has a check on his name, homie. That's not the real Star Report. Star has a check on his name. He has a verified page. Things is lame, fam. Now you see why I just kick him? Any regard, so I'm gonna go over do y'all want to go over the tax? Do y'all want to go over the Troy Ave what he what the Troy what the jury wanted to hear today? Um, I will say this. Daryl Williams says, "What's the energy in the courtroom?" I will say this. When I was walking out today, I saw Tax. He turned around. He was talking to his family. He had a big grin on his face, big smile on his face. This is a good look. Esquire wasn't in court. At the end of the day, um, uh, how you see this guy's name? Bayonne. I think I'm saying it right. Bayonne. I think I'm saying it right. I think I'm saying it right. B Bayonne. I think his name is the his other counsel that's working with. I think it's Bayonne. I think that's how you say his name. He's done a good job also. The couple of times that he got up there doing whatever he was doing a good job also. Shout out to, I don't know if I should say your real name because I don't want people to come after you. But shout out to, I'm gonna call you DM. Shout out to DM with the $25 drop. Definitely appreciate you. Deb, there you go. Shout out to Deb. Shout out to Deb with the $25 drop. Definitely appreciate you, baby girl. You a whole champion in all eyes. What, dude? You think that the verdict takes 2 days? You got so many different people in there trying to figure stuff out. Tomorrow they're gonna read more of the Tomorrow they want to come out and they're gonna get a little bit more instruction from the judge tomorrow. Ah, shit. I'm sorry about that, Deb. I mean, there's a billion Debs though. There's a billion people with that name. So I'm gonna delete your comment saying that, by the way. But sorry about that. I'm not kicking you, Jaffe. I'm just deleting that comment. Sorry about that, Deb. I'm gonna have to figure something out better than that next time. So yeah, so the jury wants. I hope Deb ain't too mad. Are you too mad? I mean, it's like a million of y'all. Nah, I think you just know who that is. There is no other thing down there. Weirdos do stuff like that, homie. I am on top. I am on topic. I think I just want to kick you though. Boom, there you go. You can watch from outside. Anyway, who said free TAXSTONE and RIP Banger? Somebody said that? I say empathy. Thank you, M. That's a great answer. Empathy. You could feel bad for both sides. Why can't you feel bad for both sides, homie? I don't know who sent this. Shout out to K Bay. I'm gonna say K Bay. Shout out to K Bay with the dub drop. Definitely appreciate you. Some people don't have empathy. You can have empathy and feel bad for, because when you say R.I.P. Banger, you give in support to his family that's still here. And when you say free tax, tax don't got people that love him. I try not to say free anybody. I say God first. I want the judicial system to do whatever the judicial system do. So I generally don't say free anybody for the most part. But every once in a while, I'll say free somebody. But for the most part, I generally don't do that. Shout out to Mr. 4440. Salute. The thing's supposed to be here by tomorrow. It's supposed to be here by tomorrow. Salute, my brother. You already know what it is. We doing big things over here. We doing big things over here. We ain't playing with them. Definitely appreciate you. You already know what it is. All right, so they reread some of the transcript. So I'm gonna tell y'all some of the stuff real quick that was read back in court. I'm gonna tell you some of what was read back in court. And so some of the things that she said, the court reporter, yeah, always staying neutral. Some of the things the court reporter said actually gave a little bit more light, and I'm just gonna point out a couple of the things that the court reporter said that kind of gave a little bit more insight, at least to me, and it might give you a little bit more insight into maybe the way the jury might be feeling. In any regard, read back the transcript of what Troy was saying, and it was Tax tried to run out, but people were in the way. So remember when we was talking about how TAXSTONE was trying to run out of the room, and we was like, why in the hell did he turn around and shoot at Troy? Like, that don't even make sense. And people was like, that don't even, why he just escaped? Like, who the fuck is gonna escape? And then instead of escaping, say, one more time. Who's doing that? Nobody's doing that. You're gonna go escape. I got a different problem with that, but that's neither here nor there. So what Troy said was, and I guess, I didn't write this down last time. I'm very happy I heard it again. What Troy said is that there were people in the way. Oh, you're going to do some timestamps? I'd appreciate that. What Troy said was there was people in the way. So that's apparently why he stopped and turned around and allegedly fired. If you listen to, if you believe Troy's story, why he turned around and fired on Troy. Just so we could be clear. Then it goes on to say that's when he jumped up, because I guess he was still trying to get away. So he was still trying to get away. You understand? So what happened was while TAXSTONE was still trying to get away, there was people in the way because everybody was trying to run out the room. So what up, Shaq? So Tax couldn't get out the room. So since Tax couldn't get out the room, he allegedly turned around and fired on Troy. Shout out to I'm gonna say JF, because I don't know who you are in the chat. Shout out to JF with the $40 drop. 10 more bucks and he would have been buying everybody drinks. Yes. Yes, Deb, absolutely. 10 more bucks and you would have been buying everybody drinks, Mr. James Fleek. So, just so we could be clear, so I'm guessing he's saying he tried to pull him down. He was unsuccessful. Remember. Appreciate you, Ibrahim. He tried to pull him down. He was unsuccessful with pulling TAXSTONE down. So what happened was when he fell down, TAXSTONE tried to keep running and get out of the room. This is Troy Ave's story. TAXSTONE tried to keep running and get out of the room. So when TAXSTONE tried to run and get out of the room, everybody else was flooding to get out the room also. So since everybody was flooding to get out of the room and they couldn't get out of the room, what ends up happening is TAXSTONE then, I guess what he's trying to say is turned around and fired on Troy Ave. So when he turned back around, he fired on Troy Ave. When Troy Ave got hit, what I'm assuming he's saying is TAXSTONE was still trying to get out of the room. So I think Troy Ave, this is what I'm thinking Troy Ave is saying happened. I'm not 100% sure, but this is my interpretation of what his testimony is saying, just so we can be clear. He was wrestling with TAXSTONE, wrestling with Troy Ave. He finally gets Troy Ave off. When Troy Ave fall, Tax turns and he tries to book it. When he tries to book it, there's people in his way. He can't get away. He see Troy Ave still on the floor. He turned around and fired on Troy Ave while he's trying to, like, the people still in the way. So he turned around and fired on Troy Ave. I'm guessing. What part you want me to repeat, Deb? While he's firing on Troy Ave, he turns back around to keep trying to run out. When he turns back around to keep trying to run out, I believe that's when Troy Ave is saying he jumped back up to his feet. Like how the wrestlers do when they go like this. Like the wrestlers. So hold on. Like when the wrestlers like, oh, and jump back up to their feet. So I guess that's when Troy Ave did that shit. And then Troy Ave went and grabbed him by the back of his collar, and also he grabbed where the gun was at. So he grabbed the gun in the back of his collar, and then they fell sideways. Shout out to Jay Fleek. He's going to add that $10 to the other 40 that he had. And basically, that's what I didn't cover. He's going to add that $10 to the other 40 that he had. And he's buying everybody drinks because so whenever somebody donates $50, basically you buy everybody around the drinks. So we're popping bottles. I want everybody to drop some drinks in the chat. He just bought everybody a drink. Popping bottles. Well, if you listen to Troy Ave's story, he literally didn't shoot to kill Troy Ave, if that is what happened. He was just firing on him because he was firing on him. He probably didn't even turn all the way around and look at Troy. He could have, if you listen to the way Troy tells the story, I am not saying that this is what happened. Just so we can be clear. I am not saying that this is what happened. I'm saying that this is the story that Troy Ave is telling. And if you listen to the story that Troy Ave is telling, he didn't even necessarily even really try to, he just fired. He wasn't trying to kill him. He was just firing because, Troy Ave. People shoot the fire all the time. You don't know no better, so be quiet. Yeah, allegedly. Everybody drinking with you, homie. He said Troy in the wrong career. He needs to be a screenwriter. Just so we can have proof that sometimes people just shoot guns. You ever know what a New Year's is? When people go on top of the roof on New Year's and just shoot guns into the sky? That happens. That's just proof that sometimes people just fire their guns. Ram X says, I wish Troy put it in sport mode to confuse Tax before the concert. What the fuck, fam? Also, Tax only got one eye. That's a fact. Yeah, shout out to Jim Fleek. Yeah, this guy is just, people just say any old thing. That's what I be trying to tell you. People just be in the chat saying any old thing, and then get mad when I don't take them seriously. I don't remember them bringing up the Christmas Day shooting. That has nothing to do with this case. Why would they bring that up? No, they didn't bring up him having one eye. They probably should have. My client only got one eye. How could he hit anything? Would that make you a better shooter if you only had one eye? Now your depth perception to be all the way off, right? Bullets are pretty quick, so him having the ability to put his leg up to protect himself, I don't know how to feel about that. How do y'all feel about that? I am also not saying that it didn't happen, just so we can be clear. But I can tell you this. The jury deciding that they wanted the judge to give them clarification on murder one in a second. I think all of those are wins for TAXSTONE. Also, wins for the jury taking this extremely serious, taking their job seriously. So, can we clap it up for the jury? No matter what comes back, they're taking their job seriously as they should. So, I think we should clap it up for the jury, who should not be in here watching this shit, by the way. Troy said he jumped. We got 434 people in here. We could get up to 200 likes, you rat bastards. Can we hit that button? Can we hit that like button? We could get up to 200 likes. We got 434 people in here. Hit that like button. Nigga Troy Ave said he jumped back up to his feet. I'm supposing he went like this. He did one of those and jumped back up to his fucking feet. Lauren says, I think it's reasonable doubt on the shooting. But then again, Tory Lanez was reasonable doubt and got booked. Tory's lawyers was terrible. If Tory had Esquire, he'd be a free man right now. If Tory had Esquire, he'd be a free man. Because Tory shouldn't be in jail in the first place. Tory's in jail because of other things. I don't know what to tell you. Tory shouldn't be in jail. But we don't know what happened in court. With all respect, the people that they sent into that courtroom ain't me. Copy? So we don't know what happened in court. Let's just be honest. We don't know what happened in Troy Ave's court. They didn't contact me to go out there. They got some other people to go out there, with all due respect. Yeah, so Troy Ave was Bobby Schmurder lawyer also. I mean, Esquire was Bobby Schmurder lawyer also. Esquire the man. What the fuck, homie? Him and Bayonne. I think that's how you say that guy's name. He doesn't, obviously he's not doing as much as Esquire, but whenever you're in that particular situation, obviously the people that you have around you is also exemplary. So obviously the other guy, Bayonne, I think his name is, he's obviously an incredible lawyer also. Just like just like the prosecution, both of them are obviously incredible lawyers. It's just one of them do more talking than the other. He was also Telfair's lawyer? Oh, so he just get everybody off. So he's an incredible lawyer. I don't know what to tell you. With all due respect. Everything that came out of the Tory Lanez trial was bogus. That's not, you not lying, homie. They didn't want to. They could have came and hollered at me and sent me over there and got some real shit going. Instead, they sent other people over there, and you saw what happened. What should we clear up, Sharice? There's a lot of things that I want to say in regards to this case, but I'm not going to say them until after the verdict comes back. That's why sometimes you see me talking and then I stop talking, because there's a lot I want to talk about that has to deal with my perspective on some of the things that we're hearing. But I prefer to not use it for various different reasons. When you said that Charlemagne pays the tech, okay, so I don't know if Charlemagne pays his legal fees. That's what I heard. Charlemagne don't pay his legal fees then. I don't know. I don't know who pays his legal fees. That was the rumor. See why I don't like saying rumors? Allegedly, Charlemagne was paying his legal fees. I think I started off saying allegedly. Allegedly, Charlemagne was paying his legal fees. I have no idea who's paying his legal fees. I have zero idea of who's paying his legal fees. Zero idea. I would have assumed TAXSTONE still had enough money to pay his own legal fees. He might be paying it and don't want people to know he's paying it. In any regard, he's a supporter of TAXSTONE. Even before this happened, he was a supporter of TAXSTONE. I mean, he might not be able to support him now. No, there's no way Esquire is cheap. All right, what y'all want to ask me? Ask me some questions. And screw Rikers Island for trying to make him go to court in his oranges. This case is going to wrap up when the jury comes back. We have no idea when the jury is going to make their deliberation. They're deliberating right now. There's no telling how long it's going to take the jury to deliberate. The lunch might be spectacular. Them dudes might be like, I like this lunch. Let's keep eating it for a month. Whatever. What do I know? I'm not going to do a live stream on my opinions as much as I'll do a live stream breaking down. Okay, first of all, there's so much content that we're going to have coming out of this particular situation. There go KG. Shout out to King Bay. There's so much content that we're going to have coming out on this. Just so we could be clear. Before I was going to do a lot of content on Treyway and Tekashi and them, but I did not like how I was being treated by the parties involved. So Therefore, I just didn't. Um, that's why I didn't do it. I didn't like the way I was being treated. I didn't like the way the parties involved treated me. I didn't like a lot of things that was just going on, just in general. I just didn't like it. I didn't want to be around that energy. Um, I don't have the same feeling here. Um, it seems like maybe because this situation is much more serious than that one, people are taking it more seriously. And because people are taking it more seriously, people are probably actually listening to the things that I'm saying, and they're not just jumping on board with, whoever the latest hater is. No, I am gonna be doing some stuff. Ram X. I don't want to speak on it yet. I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff though. What up, JP? Jim Fleek says your coverage in the 6-9 trial was spot on though. I think people was mad because you was right. Yeah, I couldn't set it no. Cause we got 189 likes in here. We could get 11 more so we get up to 200. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, I think people was just mad because I was right. That's it. If you notice, I'm not giving any opinions about nothing here. I'm just doing my reporting job. That's it. I'm just doing my reporting job. That's it. Also, somebody lost their life in this particular situation, so I do need to be a lot more careful. You know. King Bay said you should be getting that Vlad interview soon. Do y'all want to hear? Shout out to Jones. Shout out to Mike Jones. Salute to Philly. Do y'all want to hear? Salute to since we shouting out Philly. Salute to New Lane Entertainment. Them is them dudes. Um, do y'all want to ask me some questions based on the case? Is there anything y'all want me to read back from my notes that y'all want to go over? That's one. Two, my dude, there isn't anybody that do what I do. They had people try to do what I do, but they can't do what I do. Just so we could be fair. Why do you think the demographic is important, Myron Newsom? So he get it with his bags. You looking for an excuse one way or the other, Mr. Myron Newsom? You one of them black people always looking for excuses? That's not fair. But you are looking for an excuse. Which excuse are you looking for, by the way? I'm just curious. Nah, TAXSTONE got his appropriate gear. He came looking sharp. You don't know what peers mean, do you? Y'all don't know. Everybody asking me jury demographics so y'all can know if it's their peers. You don't know what peers mean, do you? It's a question y'all come in here and ask me almost every other day. I'm just gonna ignore it. Me bit middle-aged people. I've not answered the question too many times. I'm not answering it no more. Someone stated who was staring at the jury and was asked to turn around. I've done explained it numerous times. I don't remember hearing that. I don't know when that happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I didn't see it happen. Oh, you're a racist. Oh, I figured you was trying to be racist. So you mean that if a black person goes on trial, the only people in the jury should be black? You're a racist. No, I get it. Shout out to the racist Miriam Newsom. That's what I'm calling you from now on. Every single person who's not black in here should you know that Miriam Newsom don't like you. Every person in this chat that's black, Miriam Newsom don't like you and don't consider you a peer. I go over my notes, and I took a little nap today, but tomorrow I'm gonna have a book with me. What else y'all want to know? Come on, ask me some questions about the court, about the case. Ask me some questions about court. Come on. I know y'all having fun in here, just talking, just shooting the shit. But ask me some questions. Come on. Now, you good, King? King Bay? I don't even know what to call you. Ah, shit, man. I'm call you KB. You good, KB? I'm fine, though. I mean, I'm cool. I know how to be patient. No, I'm not going to speak on the witnesses that weren't called because I'm only speaking on the stuff that happened in the court. They're not a problem. You're just here for the bullshit, so I'm just going to kick you. Boom. Corey Wilkinson says, what do you feel was effective about the defense in the closing? Why don't I just go through the defense's closing? Do y'all want to hear the defense's closing again? I tell you what. First of all, let's hit that like button. We 2 likes away from 200. Do y'all want to hear the defense's closing again? My notes on the defense's closing? No, the chick that came with Mano did not take the stand, and from what I know, that's not his girlfriend. Whenever that dude come in here, that Marion guy, he's racist. And he don't consider anybody that's not black his peer. Melly Mel said the only person who witnessed Tax shoot was Troy Ave. That's the prosecution's only witness after 6 years. Do it what you want. Do it what you want. Still clear that dude, that Marion guy, though, because he's a racist. Yeah, he's a racist. If you're not black, he don't consider you equal. How's that not being a bigot? How's that not being a racist? You're not equal to him unless you're black, right? You do know what peer means, right? Odin Sith? You know what the word peer means? Now do y'all see why I be just kicking people? I don't know what the craziest thing I learned. I learned most of this stuff from reading books. Most of the stuff I know about the court, I learned from reading books. They literally. Now you see why I just kick people. You see why I just kick people. I don't feel like doing this. So I'm just gonna kick them. Let's go over the defense's closing statement again, if y'all don't mind. I go over the defense's closing statement. Esquire says Daryl Campbell is presumed innocent. And that's a fact. Everyone who is accused of a crime while you're on trial, you are presumed innocent. Every person, while you are on trial, there is a presumption of innocence. So Esquire leads off by saying Daryl Campbell is presumed innocent. He says, just because someone is accused, that does not mean that they're guilty. The prosecutor has to have credible evidence. You cannot presume without the facts. Thinking something is probable or possible is not guilt. The prosecutions has accused their own witnesses, their own wait, pardon me. I'm just gonna not say that part. The prosecution saying the prosecution wants you to believe people who live a life of lying and avoiding penalties are now being honest and telling the truth when speaking about the co-conspirators. The prosecution just repeated the story that Troy Ave said. He said, Esquire said, in a world where people make money off of publicity, Troy Ave was angry that TAXSTONE was making negative comments. He goes on to say, Troy Ave is the only one they have that's seen TAXSTONE shoot Benga. Esquire says, Benga is not security. He's a strong man. Esquire says, Benga attacked multiple people in the music industry. He is not security. First of all, R.I.P. Benga. Just so we could be clear. Esquire says, TAXSTONE went through the front, which is an odd way to sneak a gun in. Esquire said, Troy Ave says he didn't. You should have just kicked that dude all the way out, by the way. But you can leave him in there. I want to see who agrees with what he's saying, because that he's just saying racist shit. I just want to say this real quick. There is no jury in America, just so we could be clear, that's going to say there wasn't enough black. There's no court in America that's going to say there wasn't enough black people in the jury, so we're going to allow for you to get an appeal. If you don't think that that's racist, you are the problem. Thanks for just kicking him. Please, whenever people keep trying to do that, those are the same people. Just kick them. Dude is saying, I'm going to explain this one more time, what he's actually saying. That there's not enough black people on the jury, then there's not a jury of his peers. Attention beggars. That's why I just kicked them. No, that person is right. I'm happy you on go, though. I'm unblocking them, but I'm happy you on go. Stay on go. But that person is right. That person is right. They're trying to make this a conversation about race, so I could say something and they could try to act like I'm being racist or trying to act like I don't like our own people. You understand? They trying to do everything else other than talk about. They trying to get me to do everything else other than talk about the actual trial, so people will leave. Anyway, TAXSTONE went through the front, which is an odd way to sneak a gun in. Esquire says. Troy Ave says he didn't have Benga. Pardon me. Troy Ave says he didn't know that Benga was shot. Esquire says room was crowded. Young Lito never even got inside. The room was small and there was lots of people. Esquire says that Benga said, he tells the whole Troy Ave story at this part. But basically the part that I highlighted was when Benga said that he was going to rock him. And then Troy hit him and tries to grab the gun. And then also Benga wasn't able to struggle with Troy, struggle for the gun, because he was shot first. And when he got shot, that bullet pierced his heart. So his heart stopped beating. So there's no way in the world that he could have helped him fight for the gun. His heart stopped beating. That's why he said that, by the way. Esquire says, initially, Troy was responsible for criminally negligent homicide. Esquire shows the video of TMZ and the video of everybody leaving the room. Esquire says Troy Ave says he isn't scared of guns. It's like spitting in his face. You know, Troy Ave, he's not scared of no guns. Well, you gun? A gun? Troy Ave not scared of no gun. I'm so surprised, and this is not me trying to throw a joke at Troy Ave, just on some real shit. I'm surprised that he don't talk about himself in third person. Like, I'm really kind of surprised Troy Ave wasn't on the stand. Like, Troy Ave ain't scared of no gun. Troy Ave put his leg up to block Troy Ave from getting shot in Troy Ave's face. I'm surprised he wasn't talking like that. Just jokes. Just jokes. Just jokes. Actually, I don't got no problem with that guy. Just jokes. But the way they talk about him, you would assume that he talks like that. Like the way they talk about Troy Ave, you would assume that's how Troy Ave talks. In any regard. Um Esquire says Troy came out of the room shooting. Esquire says every single person had a sense of urgency to leave the room except for Troy Ave. But when Troy Ave did come out the room, he came out the room shooting. Esquire says they didn't call the young lady that got shot. You know, the girl that got shot that I just asked me about. Yeah, she didn't take the stand. Esquire says all of the witnesses that they had were substitute witnesses. So they didn't have the real cops that went and got the freaking evidence. They didn't have the real autopsy person. They didn't have the real person that did the forensics. They had none of the real people. They had all of the fake people. None of the real people. Esquire said the only person's DNA on the floor was TAXSTONE's. Esquire says Miss Ibrahim says they jumped Tax as soon as they entered the room. Esquire says witnesses lawyered up and then disappeared. So they was going around trying to find out what was going on, and witnesses was like, hold on. I think I hear the phone ringing. And then they'd be like, wait here at the door. And then they run out the back of the house. Okay, obviously, first of all, R.I.P. Benga. I'm gonna be making jokes, man. We gotta do entertainment also. But basically Esquire said that the witnesses that they had was lawyering up and disappearing, apparently. I mean, I don't know if this is true. This is what Esquire said happened. But also remember, they had the girl that didn't take the stand. Did she lawyer up? Right? The girl that got shot, she didn't take the stand. Did she lawyer up? Did she disappear? I'm not saying she did. I'm saying she didn't take the stand. Did they just not call her? Esquire said she got shot and they didn't call her to the stand. I'm just explaining this. And just so we can be clear, Esquire shouldn't have had to call her to the stand. Esquire doesn't have to prove innocence. They have to prove guilt. Esquire said DNA isn't supportive of TAXSTONE. The DNA isn't supportive of TAXSTONE committing the crime. And there's a lot of DNA on the gun. Esquire said Malcolm agreed with the cooperators' lies. Pardon me. Esquire said Malcolm agrees that cooperators lie. So just because somebody is a cooperator, that doesn't mean that they're telling the truth. One of the actual cooperators agree that cooperators lie. Troy Ave, Esquire said Troy Ave making songs about the situation. That's bananas. You know, because the case is still open. Esquire said Tax arrested off of 2 cooperators. So basically, the only reason why Tax is arrested and on trial right now is because of got arrested or was a person of interest for the most part. I mean, I'm just saying this is what Esquire said is because of the 2 cooperating witnesses. It's been 6 or 7 years and they haven't found another witness that was actually in the crowded room. So this is a crowded room. It's been 6 or 7 years and they haven't found an actual another witness to testify. 1 second. Troy Ave is one of the cooperators. What the hell are you talking about? Yo, Scene. Murder Scene says not only do cooperators lie, Troy Ave has reasons to lie for personal reasons. Troy Ave is one of the cooperators. Esquire said the video is consistent with what Oscar says happened. He was first out the room. Esquire says Miss Ibrahim says that she was sitting on the fridge and the foot got stuck under the door. Esquire says neither witness saw Troy Ave. Pardon me. Neither witness saw TAXSTONE fire. Wait, what? I think I wrote, I was supposed to write TAXSTONE. I think I wrote Troy Ave. Neither witness saw TAXSTONE fire a gun. Neither one of the witnesses, pardon me, saw Troy Ave fired a gun or TAXSTONE fired a gun. No, none of the witnesses that they called is basically saying that Troy Ave fired the gun. So why would they call witnesses, right? And they telling their witnesses to lie. So if they're telling their witnesses to lie, why wouldn't their witness just say that Troy Ave fired the gun? So they're gonna have their witnesses come up there and lie about everything else, but not have them tell that lie tomorrow. Next court date's tomorrow, but not tell that lie. They're like, that don't make sense. So, so we gonna have them lie about all. You know what? We gonna have them lie, but only about the little stuff that don't matter. I mean, I don't know. That's basically what Esquire was saying. How do you feel about that? In any regard, Esquire says they know their evidence doesn't point at TAXSTONE. They know that they don't have any evidence that points directly at TAXSTONE. Esquire says Troy got bit on the wrist. Why would you bite somebody on the wrist? To get them to drop something. Esquire says Troy was not being honest when he got shot. He changed his story multiple times. Esquire says when Tax allegedly fired on him, he doesn't shoot him in the head to kill him. He shoots him in the leg? That's a point one of y'all was trying to bring up a little bit earlier when I said he just turned around and he just fired. But remember, that's what Troy Ave said. So what you got to understand is y'all be talking like y'all trying to argue points to me, but I'm just telling you what the person said. Hold on. I need to understand what you talking about, Plug Nation. You're saying that my content is low vibration? I want to be clear on this. What lane do you think I'm in, curiously, before you go any further? I'm just curious. What lane do you think I'm in? And then I'm going to say two things after you answer. What up, lovely E? After you answer, I'm going to say two things. I already know what those things are. But what lane do you think I'm in? Like, what kind of what page do you think you're at right now? Don't worry, I'm about to help him out the door. Okay, one, you don't think that people should report on our people in an unbiased manner without gossip? That's one. So you don't love our people. That's the way I accept that. And when I say our people, I don't mean just black people. When I say our people, I mean the people that live in our communities. Yeah, everybody dropped bags. Plug Nation just got hit with his bags. Plug Nation got hit with his bags. Remember, this is low vibrational. He don't want to be here. Plug Nation already got hit with his bags. I cover court cases. It's a man that died. You talking about what, somebody losing a family member's low vibration? I want you to go say that to Trife Gangster's face. Copy? I want you to be a tough guy, show up to court, and go up to Trife Gangster's face and tell him, no matter of fact, don't even do that, because we don't want our other brother on trial for murder. So don't even do that. Yeah, don't do that. We don't want our other brother in trouble for murder. So don't do that. All right, my fault. I'm getting back to the argument. I'm getting back to the closing statements. My fault I do that, y'all. My apologies. I'm not going to comment back to them fools no more. Hold on. I'm not going to comment back to them fools no more. But when you see them people pull up in here, y'all got to shoot at them dudes then. Copy? Y'all go at them fools so I don't feel like I need to. We got an admin in here. He'll kick them when it's time. I apologize that I get upset. Any regard, I'm going to back up a little. Esquire says, Troy was not being honest when he said he got shot. He changed his story multiple times. Esquire says, when Tax allegedly fired on him, he doesn't shoot him in the head to kill him. He shoots him in the leg. TAXSTONE, pardon me. Esquire says, Troy jumps up. And Troy jumped up like this. Troy got shot and went like this. He did one of these jumps. I jumped up to his feet like that and shit. I can't really do that jump right now. I gotta get back stretching and stuff, and then I could knock one of those out. But so Troy jumps back up to his feet after he got shot, and then he takes the gun. He said that story is ridiculous. This is what he said. Esquire says, in civil case, Troy says he got shot with 2 bullets. But in this case, he's saying he got shot with 1. Esquire says, how can he disarm anyone after being shot while the other person isn't even shot? And the lights is going on and off. And Troy Ave, he popping up to his feet like freaking a wrestler. And then he's taking the gun. So Esquire says, how? Esquire said Tax says no one was, pardon me, Esquire said Casanova said no one was helping Tax. Why would anybody need to help somebody that has a gun? Esquire says that Casanova said no one was helping Tax. Why would someone need to help someone that has a gun? Esquire says Casanova says it was a shootout. How can you have a shootout with just one gun? Esquire says Tax lost his phone. How do you lose your phone? How do you lose your phone? You lose your phone when you're getting your ass beat. That's the same image you see? Mel says, I heard the prosecutor was dry and was putting people to sleep. She can use a lot of help with her crowd warming skills. But as far as, I just want to say this, as far as how she formatted what she did, that was incredible. Her formatting was incredible. Just so we can be clear. Her formatting was incredible. Her crowd warming skills with her speech probably wasn't as great, but her formatting was absolutely incredible. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Tax lost his phone. How do you lose your phone? You lose your phone when you're getting your ass beat. Esquire says, Malcolm says he was beaten up, but didn't tell them about the events of the night. So basically, Malcolm said he looked at TAXSTONE and TAXSTONE was physically injured, but TAXSTONE didn't tell him what happened. And I do want to say this because I just want to say this. When do niggas really be running around talking about they got their ass whooped? A person will get their ass whooped and then they don't want to talk about it. Am I lying? So I think that's what he was trying to allude to. Esquire says, you got to consider this on the evidence. You have to consider this on the evidence or the lack thereof. Esquire says, Malcolm only knows about events from what was told, and basically everything that he has is secondhand. He only knows about what happened. Malcolm is one of the cooperating witnesses. He only knows about what happened because of what he was told and because what he saw on social media. Esquire says witnesses were not the best people to speak to, and the testimony was speculatory. Esquire says the changes in the prosecuting everything. That they made changes, and the prosecutors just throwing everything against the wall, and they're just trying to get a conviction. So they just throwing everything against the wall. Esquire says, what have you been presented with showing that Tax had intent? There was none. Esquire said Tax bringing the gun is not proof that he fired the gun. Esquire says, you never ever heard from Maggie Hextall. That's the girl that got shot. Esquire says, why not the unknown persons? Why not Troy Ave? Like on the gun. Like you got all of this DNA on the gun. Why couldn't one of the unknown people have killed them? Why couldn't it have fired the shot that killed them? Why couldn't it have been Troy Ave? What evidence do you have that says that Tax fired the gun? Esquire goes on to say they were jumping Tax and falling all over each other. And then they went for the gun and someone pulled the trigger. That is criminally negligent homicide, not murder with intent. Thus, this coach's ignorance outshadows the beauty. The presumption of innocence matters. If you have evidence that isn't credible, and then the defense ended. I need to let my voice rest for a second before I tell you what the prosecution. I give you the prosecution. What did you think about his closing? Let me know. Put it in the chat. I do want to say this because somebody's just made a comment about the prosecutions putting people to sleep or whatever. The prosecution did a really good job. Maybe not as don't have the type of swag, you know. I mean, she's good at her job. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. She's good at her job, homie. I mean, she did a good job. After I looked at my notes, I think it was like the second or third day of witnesses, and then I looked at my notes, and I was just like, what the hell, fam? I was like, this shit is formatted perfect. But I will say that she tends to lose the audience. I agree with that. But the elements are there. I'm not talking about to get a conviction. I'm saying the elements of what her job is. She's doing a good job of her job. I know I call her Darth Keenan, but it's out of love. It's not out of hate. It's not out of dislike or nothing like that. I don't put that energy out into the universe. That's not what I'm trying to do. Y'all want to hear what the prosecution had to say? Give me 1 second. I'll come back. I'll tell y'all what the prosecution had to say. We got 223 likes. Y'all think we could get to 250? Give me 1 minute. What the fuck, man? Sheesh. That was wild. Thank you for all the blessings. No, no. The point in which what I'm saying is she's doing her job well. The fact that she doesn't have as much swag, I guess that's the best way to put it, as Esquire, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's not competent. I'm saying she's extremely competent. That's all I'm saying. She's extremely competent. That's what I'm saying. I am gonna put on a sweater. I'm getting a little chilly. Give me 1 second. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying she's competent. And she got a cute assistant. So, you know, whatever. And she got a really cute assistant. These are just facts. These are just all of the facts. She's competent. She got a cute assistant. There's this one I don't know if they're like avoiding me on purpose or whatever, but there's this one security officer, one of the court officers. They're not security, they're police. One of the court officers that every time they see me, I don't even be seeing them. I just be walking, and then like I don't even be knowing that they be in the place, and she just be like, "Don't get on that elevator," or some shit. Like, I'm like, wait, what? Like I didn't even know. Like, what the hell, fam? So I'm gonna be honest with you. So when I go into the court, I'm trying to avoid them. I don't want no court officers being angry at me because I'm standing too close to the DA or some shit. So I just avoid them because I don't know what the hell that's about. I make sure wherever I see them, I avoid them. I don't know why the lady keep doing that. Like, what the hell, fam? Anyway, y'all want to hear the closing statements of the prosecutions? So, DK says, it took, Keenan says, it took the defendant 5 seconds to pull gun and shoot. Keenan says 33-year-old. Benga was 33-year-old and he was killed. She used his government name, obviously. Ronald McFadden. Keenan says, over 5-year obsession with Troy Ave, senseless act of violence. Keenan says, the evidence proves that he brought a loaded firearm into Irving Plaza. Keenan says the defendant punched, then fired the gun. The defendant was punched, and then after the defendant was punched, the defendant fired a gun. Keenan says the defendant fired 5 shots and made 3 victims. Keenan says you should find Malcolm and Troy Ave's testimony credible. Keenan says TAXSTONE has already admitted that he purchased the gun out of state and then brought it into the state. And basically that's in his federal charge that he already pled guilty to. And then she showed the paperwork of the charge that he already pled guilty to. Keenan says the defendant will say it's his gun. Keenan says 4 bullets were recovered from the defendant's gun. Keenan says 1 was in Benga's pelvis, 1 was in Troy's leg, and another one was in a railing. And I'm assuming the other one was in that guy's intestines. One of the bullets was actually inconclusive, but that's because the thing that it hit, it deformed the bullet so much that they wasn't able to match it up. Keenan says 0 evidence that was a second gun. only the defendant's gun. Keenan said the video shows Tax sliding by security with the gun while his friends talked to security. I guess she was alluding that they were purposely trying to keep the security occupied. Keenan says Cass left the room after the first shot, and then there was 3 more shots in 6 seconds. Basically, Casanova cannot be a shooter. Keenan says Cass said that Tax had the gun. Remember, Cass is Tax's friend. Keenan says within 10 minutes of shooting, Cass calls Malcolm and says Tax bust a shot in a small room. They just shot an N-word. Keenan says, wait, hold on. Also, Casanova did not know that the phone call was being taped. So this wasn't something that he did in order to try to elude himself being considered a suspect, because he didn't know that the person he was calling had a tap on their phone, apparently. Keenan says, Cass says no one helped defend it. Keenan says Tax goes back to the room after the shots to get Tax and try to help Tax retain possession of the gun. Keenan says, I don't know how you could, anyway. Keenan says, Tax phone call, credible evidence. Keenan says the scientific evidence is evidence of Tax guilt. Keenan says an innocent person doesn't try to get people to lie to the jury. Keenan says that's the actions of a shooter. Keenan says a person is not truthful when what happens proves their guilt. Basically, people lie to hide their guilt. Keenan says TAXSTONE conspired with Brittany Lewis to pay Oscar to be a witness and say specific things. At this point, she plays a audio of, describing that. Then Keenan also played an audio that offered Oscar sexual favors for testimony. Then she also played an audio that was basically saying that they had Miss Ibrahim's contact for Snapchat. Why this is a big deal? They said TAXSTONE, Miss Ibrahim said she didn't have a Snapchat. I don't think I breezed past that. Cass goes back to the room after shots to get Tax. That's it. And then I added the tries to help. No, she says tries to help Tax retain possession of the gun. She said that. I didn't breeze past that. That's all that was there. TAXSTONE pled out to the gun that was the gun that is used in this particular crime, this particular situation. That's the gun he pled out to. Keenan says they do not have proof of the communications between Brittany and Miss Ibrahim on the Snapchat, but basically Casanova was talking to Brittany and telling Brittany that he has Miss Ibrahim's Snapchat. But I mean, anyway, that's what happened. Keenan says Oscar says that Oscar doesn't need to tell that TAXSTONE said Oscar doesn't need to tell on nobody. Just say that TAXSTONE's hands were busy, so that he could not have fired the gun, and to say the shooting happened behind TAXSTONE. They played audio of Brittany saying Oscar will say whatever they need him to. They played audio that the defendant didn't need to wait. Then, just so we could be clear, Keenan says defendant didn't need tax. Basically, they didn't know that their audio that they was using over that what the name of that Telegram thing was going to be able to be used in court, because they didn't think anybody would be able to get it because it's an encrypted app. Keenan then played the audio where TAXSTONE says that he wanted to delay the case until after Malcolm gets sentenced, so he won't go as hard at towards him or against him on the stand. Keenan says it's clear that Oscar's lying. He's going to do anything he can so he can make it in the rap world. Keenan said Oscar had to change his story so that it match up with Miss Ibrahim's Jatira's. Keenan says door nowhere near fridge that she said she was sitting on. And then they showed the picture. And literally, that's like how the picture looked with the door and how far the door was from the fridge. I thought that was bananas. I was like, this is the lie. I mean, I'm not saying a lie. Like, we don't know what happened. Maybe the fridge got moved. Maybe she moved herself. She could have still been behind the door and at one point been sitting on the fridge. But I'm just saying, they showed that's how the picture looked. That's the best I could do the diagram. I hear what you're saying, OG POV, about whatever, but I'm not here to give opinions on things. So you understand? So the thing you wanted me to do was add something to there for me to have a discussion on how Casanova could have been involved in something that nobody said he was doing. In any regard, Keenan went on to say Miss Ibrahim was trying to make Tax a victim rather than a shooter. Miss Ibrahim's video only proves that he was wearing a black shirt because they found no bottle of Douce on the ground. Keenan says an innocent man doesn't need anyone to lie, for the only a guilty man does. Keenan said cooperators' testimony reliable. Keenan said prosecutors are not telling the cooperators to lie. Keenan says Malcolm told on himself so hard they added 7 new charges, the U.S. Attorney's Office. Keenan says Malcolm testified in this case because an argument, Malcolm testified in this case because of an agreement he made. They vetted him for 8 months. He's facing a minimum of 42 years to life. So he has to tell the truth or he might go to jail for life. That was her argument, I'm guessing. Keenan says, basically that's what she said. He has to tell the truth so he get a 5K. Well, Keenan says, only way to get the letters to be truthful. Keenan said, told on suppliers And then other crimes. Keenan said Malcolm observed injuries on Tax. Keenan says that Casanova's call corroborated Troy Ave. I want to say something real quick. Y'all know every time I go into the courtroom, I assume that they angry at me over something I said on the live. Every single time I go in the courtroom, I just assume that. I be like, they probably pissed off at me. Every single time. I'm like, they probably pissed off at me and angry at me about some shit that I done said on that live. So every time I go in there, I be thinking people are pissed off at me. I ain't gonna lie to you. They might be pissed off at me tomorrow. Any regard. Keenan says the question. Keenan said the question isn't whether you like Troy Ave or not. The question is whether you believe him or not. Keenan says the defendant, not the people of NYC, made Troy Ave a victim. Keenan says the defendant pulled Troy Ave. No, pardon me. The defendant bullied Troy Ave for 5 years and shot and murdered his friend. Keenan says Troy Ave was not permitted to answer questions. Basically, Esquire kept cutting them off, which is not really the truth. Like I keep saying, like, yeah, they were cutting each other off. Them guys, like, okay, so I want to say something real quick. So the stenographer the court reporter is busy reading back the damn minutes. There's a part that she just got to, like, a couple of times, and it's like, but you gotta understand, they was having a hard time. They were really having a hard time, like, doing this shit, because those guys, they wasn't doing it the right way. They were talking at the same time over the top of each other. The shit was crazy. So when she started reading the damn thing back, when she started reading the minutes back, like, she was having a problem reading the minutes back, because you don't know where one of their fucking sentences ended and the other one began. This is no cap. I'm just taking something outside the garbage real quick. I feel bad for that court reporter. Them dudes was doing the most. I feel them dudes was doing the most, man. Because it's the garbage day, and I always forget. These dudes was doing the most. I don't even understand. Like, they was just doing the most. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for everybody that had the. They was just doing the most. Anyway, like, golly, that shit was crazy. Shout out to Davidson Ave, Mount Haven. Salute. Salute to Providence. Keenan said, so they wasn't really, they just was talking on top of each other like crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. But they were both doing it. Anyway, I just feel like saying that. Anyway, Keenan says, yeah, I wrote they would interrupt each other just to make sure I don't forget. Keenan says that he added or mentioned Troy Ave 700 plus times. Keenan says the defense tried to mislead you into thinking that Troy didn't want to get locked into like anything, like he was hiding the truth. But in reality, he said he didn't want to get locked in because he didn't know how many shots was fired. So he didn't want to agree that there was a certain number of shots fired and there was actually more shots fired. Keenan says the only relevance of the two guns, the only relevance of the gun Troy Ave was caught with, of the two guns that Troy Ave was caught with, is that they didn't come into the club. That's the only relevance of the other guns that was Troy Ave was caught with, that those guns never made it into the club. Keenan said ballistics evidence proves that Troy Ave's guns never made it into the club. Keenan says Troy Ave didn't bring a gun in. They were wrestling over one gun. Keenan says when Troy Ave demonstrated in front of the jury, he was reliving the moment, which proves that he was being truthful. Keenan says Troy Ave gave the DA, came to the DA because he was being prosecuted. Keenan says he did not have an open case of anything that happened inside of the green room. Keenan said because of Roland Collins' self-interest is why he can be believed. Keenan says that they did not rush to Irving Plaza, and after getting there, they didn't rush to the VIP. I guess basically that was alluding to, they keep saying that they knew that TAXSTONE was there and they was after him. It was like, but then why didn't they rush to Irving Plaza, and why didn't they rush into the VIP? Benga was 5'9" and muscular. At some point earlier, I didn't write it down because I knew he was wrong, so I didn't write it down. But Esquire said he was 6'2" or some shit. I don't know. He's like my height. But I'm gonna say something real quick. So the other day I was walking with somebody who might be a little bit taller than me, not for nothing. So when I was walking with them, they said to me that they thought I was taller than I actually was because of the way that I was walking and the way I looked when I was walking. So, I'm just want to throw that in there. Keenan says Troy doesn't say he saw a gun, just says he saw Tax and reach towards the waist. He gave honest testimony. Remember when he said he saw when he went to go hit TAXSTONE, he's saying that Troy never said that he saw TAXSTONE gun at that point. All he said is that he reached for his waist in a manner which will let you, he thought he had a gun. Keenan says they see in here that he saw that Troy Ave saw and heard the mushroom flash at Benga's chest. Keenan says shoots to chest. The shots to chest was contact on contact, and the shots to the back was 12 inches. So contact on contact is basically, this is the brush, this is the finger, that's contact. You understand what I'm saying? This would be near contact, right? So this would be contact, this would be near contact. So anything 3 inches and contact, if it's touching it is contact, but if it's anything less than touching it in more than touching it, or less than touching, not touching it, but still within 3 inches, that's near contact, basically. And the shot in the back was 12 inches or less than 12 inches. Keenan goes on to say shot 4 was 16 seconds after shot 1. Keenan goes on to say Benga was helping during shots 1 through 3. Keenan goes on to say the bullet path consistent with being bent over at the waist. Keenan goes on to say Tax turns back and fires at Troy as he's on the ground. Keenan goes on to say the bite mark proves that Troy Ave's story is true about the violent spooning. Keenan goes on to say Troy Ave, after he gets a little bit more control over the gun, starts to hit Tax in the head, which explains the blood on the floor and the injuries to Tax. Keenan says, Cass, back up from the door, which corroborates Troy's story when he said Tax told Cass to back up. Then they showed that video, by the way. They showed something happening in the doorway. I'm pretty sure the jury was able to see it a lot better than us. I'm pretty sure the jury could see it a lot better than us. But there was an image from where I'm sitting. You could see an image that was in the doorway. And she was saying that that was TAXSTONE Casanova. And Casanova has stopped, apparently, because allegedly TAXSTONE has said, told him to stop. Keenan says the bullet found in the rail confirms Troy Ave's story when he says that he stopped the fire and the Tax and the trajectory is proof. I'll show you the diagram I drew real quick. So this is a rudimentary diagram of the center where it happened at. This is one of the VIP rooms. This is the other VIP room. This is Troy Ave. That A you see right there. That T is TAXSTONE. This area right there is where there is no camera. So there's a lacking of a camera right here. There's a camera here and there's a camera here, right? But that camera points that way and this camera points that way. So there's this space in here where you cannot see anything. There's no camera there. I mean, you can see if you're there. It doesn't have video coverage. So Troy Ave says that when he came out of this room, TAXSTONE was about over here somewhere, and TAXSTONE turned around to him and said, what's popping? Again, I guess, or something along those lines. Troy Ave then shoots at him because he also thinks that TAXSTONE has a gun. He has another gun, I guess. He thinks he does. So he shoots at him, and when he misses, they get the bullet out of the railing over on this side. So that's why they believe Troy Ave's story about what he says. Because apparently the next time TAXSTONE gets on the camera, it was more than the 8 seconds that it would have took for him to leave the front of this camera and then get in front of that camera. So they're saying TAXSTONE had to have been doing something around this time inside of this area where there's no coverage at. And that's giving, and the prosecution, Keenan, is saying that's kind of proving, or that's, makes it the only reasonable reason why TAXSTONE would not be on the camera for more than 8 seconds was if he stopped and did something like Troy Ave is saying he did. In any regard. The bullet found in the rail confirms Troy Ave's story when he says that he stopped the fire at Tax. His trajectory is proof. 8 seconds of camera of Tax. 8 seconds of Tax, which could only be explained if he stopped while he was off camera, what I was just explaining. Troy gave gun to Block to take gun as he waited for the EMS and the police with Banger's body. Keenan says, if you are to try to stop someone from pointing gun at you, you will be holding a slide. Keenan says, once you take Troy Ave and Tax DNA from the found DNA, that there isn't enough DNA from other people to prove anyone else handled the gun a lot. Keenan went on to say Cass DNA is not on the gun. Keenan went on to say video shows Black is not a part of the incident. Block is not a part of the incident. They showed the video of the TMZ video, and while whatever's happening, you see Block in the video, and he's not really getting involved in the bullshit. Keenan says you cannot take points from the prosecution if one of the witnesses don't come testify. Keenan says you can't shoot people who you don't like. Keenan says you can't shoot people who punch you. Keenan says the defendant fired shots with intent to kill. Keenan says you intend at time to pull the trigger is all that matter. Your intent at the time that you pull the trigger is all that matter. Keenan says you don't shoot people at their heart unless you intend to kill them. Keenan says doesn't just shoot one, he shoots twice. Keenan says fired at Troy Ave when Troy was on the floor, intent to kill. Keenan says Troy can't run or jump due to injury. Keenan says intent of who you are trying to hit follows the people that you actually hit, meaning if you intend to kill somebody but you miss them and you hit somebody else, that's attempted murder still, or murder with murder, you wanted to because you was trying to kill that person, you just happened to kill the other person. Keenan says doesn't just shoot. Oh, I said that. Keenan says Troy can't run. I said that. Keenan says Maggie Hextall still has issues. She's the one that got shot in the leg. Keenan says Chris Vincent had 12 inches of intestines removed. Keenan says firing gun in crowded room is reckless conduct. Keenan says when defendant says what's popping and in reach and then reaches for waist, that's a criminal possession. Yeah, because basically if you have a weapon and you act like you're going to use the weapon or you motion like you're going to use the weapon, then you're criminally possessing that weapon at that moment. Keenan says firing a gun in a crowded room is reckless conduct. Keenan says when defendant says what's popping and reach for his waist, that's criminal possession. Keenan says possessed gun outside of his business. Keenan says we do not have to prove a mathematical certainty. Keenan says just beyond a reasonable doubt. Keenan says willingness to call witnesses to lie. Keenan says the jury's job is to look at the evidence as a whole and not separately in isolation. Keenan says verdict must be based on evidence and your reasonable, logical understanding. And then she closes. Shout out to everybody from across the pond. That's a fact. What was Manolo Rose? Oh, y'all talking about something else. I'm gonna let y'all go. I have not had no dinner. I am going to make me something to eat for dinner. I came straight from the courthouse and we jumped on the live after about 20 minutes. I think I made a phone call. Well, not a phone call, an Instagram call. With that being said, we will be back tomorrow. We got court tomorrow. The judge actually has to, the jury has already asked the judge for something tomorrow that has to deal with the charges. So tomorrow I'm going to be able to tell you, what up, Ra? So tomorrow I'm going to be able to tell you a little bit more about what's going on, because apparently the jury wants to know more about the charges and have a better understanding of the charges. So, like I told you before, this could go either way. I told you that. I'm not these other dudes that cover these, that try to cover these cases and just say what they feel that they want people to hear, so the people will come and watch their content. I tell you what it is, and if you don't like what it is, then it is what it is. Just telling you, I'm just telling you. I tell you what it is. If you don't like what it is that I'm saying, there's nothing I can do about that. With that being said, shout out to everybody that be in the courthouse. I really do appreciate you guys. I know some people don't like me, but it's okay. There's a lot of people that don't like me. Actually, there's a lot of people that actually do like me. There's just, I don't know how to say it. I just piss people off sometimes because I do what I think is the right thing to do more than I do what I think people is going to like me for. So with that being said, everybody have a beautiful night. Please, if you got anybody still awake in your household, give them a hug. Tell them you love them. You don't never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Give people their flowers while they still here. Also, before we go to bed and after we wake up, please drink that water, nutrients. And whenever we help somebody else be the best them that they could be in that moment, we being the best us that we could be. So go out there and be great. Like, comment, subscribe. Join the notification gang. Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. That's all I got on this one. I'm out.